Hey everybody, Johnny Good here. Greetings from Wisconsin. I don't know what the name of this town here, but we'll know in a minute or so. Okay, there's something I wonderfully like to share with you. Something very wonderfully. Yeah, I think I've said that already. All right. I had the most amazing dream last night. It was incredible. All right, to begin with, for those of you who are new to the channel, I was born and raised in the Philippines. I grew up in an island called Camiguin Island. And a little bit of a background to myself is my father was born and raised in Sheboygan, Wisconsin. But he lived in the Philippines for over 45 years. He spoke the language. He is, other than this white skin on his body, he was everything Filipino. I mean, he was just. You ever seen a video on YouTube where the really looking Chinese looking girl starts speaking English? I mean, this guy trying to speak kind of English to him says, well, the point is, it's kind of shocking sometimes to see somebody different race speak English better than most people, and it kind of takes you back a little bit. But anyway, that's what my dad was. To the local, to our barrio, he was one of our own. He was just an ordinary guy, other than the fact that he was white. So, all right, and I was born in 1968. I was born in 68 in mainland Mindanao at a town called Bugo, B-U-G-O. In fact, there's Del Monte, Philippines is located there. A big old pineapple cannery. And we used to live just right by their wall. I mean, it was. In fact, I remember when I was a little boy, when they would load pineapples, somehow some of those pineapples would they load them on the ship? Because I don't know if that place was a cannery when I was a little boy. I think it was just kind of a shipping place. I don't think they canned pineapple back then in that facility. So anyway, I would remember swimming out to the ocean just to fish out the pineapples that dropped off the conveyor belt or what have you. And that was a lot of fun. All right. But by 1974, my dad moved out to the island of Camiguin Island, which is a very small island just off the coast of Mindanao Island. In fact, it's from our beach property to the main island is only 7 kilometers. That's only about what, 3.5 miles. So anyway, we moved to that island, and that's basically where I grew up. I first time I went to school, did some, what most kids do in a village or in barrio, except that I had it both world, because you see, my dad being an American, our house was modern. It had, we had running lights, we had generators, we had indoor plumbing, and we had showers and, all that stuff. But when I was out of the house and I played with the kids outside from the barrio, I lived as a barrio kid, played with them, made friends with them. In fact, some of my best friends are still from there. But whenever I came home, I came home as I don't know, I played like an American kid. I played like a Filipino kid, and I came home like an American kid, kind of in the middle. But anyway, I had it both worlds, and it was great. It was, and the most, for the most part, we as a family were welcome in that barrio. And my mom is one of those women that just magnets everybody. You've seen them. They're a little bit rare, but they bend over backwards to help somebody, and that's what my mom was. And my dad, he was very innovative and hardworking, and he also had a little bit of money to invest. So he hired most of the residents in our barrio. So chances are, if you were, now you gotta understand, the barrio is very small. So chances are, either one of your family members worked for my dad and my mom, or sometimes all of them did. But it was a great relationship, and I enjoyed living in that island. So my fondest memory of childhood is mostly of that scene, of that era. And I even went to school at the elementary public school, and I didn't learn a whole lot because, well, we were, as kids in the barrio, we were more interested in fishing, playing, going up to the mountains and going, fruit hunting, I would call it. We would, whatever season it is, we'd go up and whatever. School was the last thing in our minds. So anyway, that's the memory that I have, and most especially the older folks at that time. They were very kind. They treated me like one of their own. And over time, a lot of them have died, old age or disease, or they just started dying off, and that's just the way life goes. And everybody knew everybody in that barrio. You could if the wind was just right, you fart one end of the other side of the barrio, and your fart will be on the other side of the barrio in 5 minutes. That's pretty small. And so was the gossip. So it was a very positive experience and childhood. Now, let's go back to my dream. Last night, I had a dream that I traveled back in 1974, as I am right now. And now you got to remember, back in 1974, that whole island was dark. There was no electricity. Okay? And the funny thing about my dream was it was also very dark. And it was very primitive. It still is today, but today we've got electricity and internet and all that stuff and modern automobiles and all that stuff. But back then it was when you had to wait at least an hour or so for somebody to swing by and for the passenger jeepney. So anyway, back to the dream. I was dreaming back. I was back in 1974, and at first I couldn't figure out where I was or what I was doing because it was dark. And all of a sudden I realized that I was back in the island, and I'm looking at this one particular woman back then that was she was already, you know, elderly when I was a little boy of the age of what, 6 or 7. And I already knew she died back then. And I began to realize that I traveled back in time. And I just started asking her who she was, and I realized that it was her, and I started hugging her, and I look around me, and all these people that I remember back when I was a child that were already gone. They were just everywhere, and there were a lot of people that I did not recognize, and you know, but a lot of them I started asking, hey, where's you know, and I'm speaking this in Bisaya, in our language or our dialect. So I'm asking everybody, he says, hey, where's so and so, and I can't, you know, is he around? And they would point out, yeah, he's over there. And of course, you gotta take in consideration that my memory of them from that era is totally different, or may not be exactly the same as what I remember, because, you know, when you were a child, everything is so big, and you know. And so anyway, I would ask where this person was that I used to be close to, and I would go there and I would hug them, and I was just so ecstatically and happy, and I tell you, I don't know if time travel is ever possible, but in my dream, it was as real can get. It was amazing. And one of the funny thing was this particular woman that we used to call King. I told her that I was from the future and I traveled back in time. And at first, I wasn't gonna tell her because maybe she would look at me like I'm crazy. And you gotta admit, people from barrios or from, you know, the very low class people, I don't think back, you know, traveling in time ever came up when I was a little boy. It's not a topic that people from that scene usually talk about. So, and I told her, as I come from the future and I came back in time, and who I was, and she was happy to see me, and oh, I tell you, it was a wonderful dream. and I don't know, it was great. It was amazing. So yeah, one of the things that you guys can do is you guys can share your audio file of what your dreams were, and I'd be happy to, share that on air like I did with Terry and Eric. So yeah, all right, we'll catch you guys later. Peace.